It's back.
The green train is running.
Bobby, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
Sorry. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fins Talk. Today on the Fins Talk Sports Network, I'm your host, Bobby Fins Talk, joined by the one and only Fish Tank Hank. And we must ask for forgiveness. Fish Tank is getting over something, but he is ready to roll, ready to go. Hank, I know how you've been feeling this week, but how are you feeling today, sir?
Well, today's like any other day for me. Well, today has a couple more things going on in it for me today, and it's Veterans Day. Veterans Day has a lot of mixed feelings for me. I have a lot of friends that got hurt, got a lot of friends that have passed away, got a lot of friends that, put their lives into something that they believed in for the sake of others selfishly. Selfishly, I mean selflessly. Sorry. So, and people put themselves out there and they go and do it for just, they love their country and they want to make sure that their family's safe. They want to make sure that everybody's safe. And I appreciate all those veterans out there. If you know somebody that you've lost, and what I've always tried to do is when I'm celebrating something, I always think of a lot of those people that made it where I could be here to celebrate. You know what I mean? So I just think all veterans should enjoy themselves on this weekend and take time to reflect. And, for me, I reflect on both the positive and the negative, but I focus on it being a positive at the end of the day, because without those people, I would have never had those memories. And without a lot of people, I wouldn't be here. So thank you, all the veterans out there.
100%. And thank you to Fish Tank Hank, to Steve Malloy, to Brett Lagasse, Dave Staker, who are on the team at Finstock Sports Network, to all veterans, my family, my grandparents, my grandfather, my uncle. Thank you all so much. Happy Veterans Day to those people. All right, guys. So, the Dolphins are on a bye week. There's no game tomorrow. That's kind of depressing. But we're not on a bye week.
And I've stirred the pot on the internet a little bit too.
When have you not? When have you not? What did you do now?
All I said was, that Miami needs to improve. If we're gonna if we're gonna make a real push for the Super Bowl, Miami has to improve. They have to do better. And people just jumped all over me. Oh, you're following the narrative that everybody else is following. All I said was I included the fact that we hadn't beat anybody over 500 also. But that wasn't the main, but that's what everybody focused on, was the fact that I said that. So, you're following the media. Oh, you're a poser. Or somebody called me a fraud.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, I'm just a human being, bro. I'm not pretending to be someone or something that I'm not. I'm just be myself and I over here.
Listen,
right? So.
You're speaking truth. I mean, look, the Dolphins are 6-3, which is great, right? I mean, how great
fabulous.
Is that? Number one in the AFC East, the number one offense in the NFL. The defense is trending up, but there's no lie. The team is 6-3. That's great to see. But against the playoff teams, against the real deal, against the Super Bowl champion, against the Super Bowl contenders, they've come up short. They have to do better. They have to show up. So you're not being a fraud or what. You took the blinders off. You see the reality, and you're absolutely right. So
that's
to those
all I said. And
wake up, folks.
People were coming at me and telling me F you, F this, and I was on a block fest, man. Bam, 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 bam.
Well,
bam, bam.
we got, look, we're going to tell people why. Look, Yeah, the Dolphins.
But we'll get
This is
into
what
why
we're going to talk about.
why I say these things too.
Absolutely, we're going to talk about why the Dolphins are. No one should worry that because they're 6-3 and what's going to come. We're going to tell them why Dolphin fans or the Dolphins need to do better in the second half of the season and what's in store going forward. Before we do that, as you can see, guys, on the bottom of on actually right below me, Caneswear is a new Finns Talk Sports Network sponsor. I'm very excited about that. My dog is so excited. Finns Talk Sports Network is officially partnered with Caneswear at Miami Fanswear in Davie, Florida. They have everything from game day jerseys, helmets, hats, shirts, more, and much more. If you live in Florida or you're traveling down for the Dolphins home game, make sure to stop at Caneswear. They are located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. If you live outside of Florida, that's okay. You can check out their website at www.caneswear.com and order from there today. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. We are so excited to be partnered with Caneswear and what we can build going forward. All right, Fish Tank. Let's get this ball rolling, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. Let's do this.
All right. Let me go ahead and make sure I have everything here. Perfect sauce. All right.
Well, I don't have the outline, so you're going to need to help me, all right?
I got it. Make sure everything frozen up on me here, but that's okay. I think I'm good. Everything is working on else other than that. But let's touch on the offense. We know what the offense is. We know what they've done this season. We know a lot of people had high expectations. We all did with Tyreek Hill and Tua and Jalen and Mike McDaniel and company. But I think, they have not only hit those expectations, but exceeded those expectations so far this season. Number one in the NFL. Who
do you think has exceeded it the most?
I think the offense in general has exceeded expectations. Think about the running game, right? Well, let's say the running game. That's what I think has exceeded expectations.
The running game.
The running game has exceeded expectations.
Wow. Well, go
absolutely.
ahead, tell me about that.
Yeah, look, first off, let me go ahead over these numbers here very quick. The Dolphins are the number one offense in the NFL, leading in almost every category, minus rushing. They're only number 2 in the NFL compared to the Ravens, number 1. And minus rushing, but only number 2. Leading in the NFL in scoring, 32 points a game. Miami, let's see. Of course, against top 10 defenses, they're averaging only 20 points a game. Okay, that's the 2 New England games, Buffalo, Philly, Kansas City, only 20 points a game. Okay, but yes, for me, who's exceeded expectations most? The running game. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, those guys. We know what Mostert was, but especially with Achane coming back and Achane what he was together, those two. Our rushing attack was off the charts. That really helped put Miami's offense over the expectations mark because we knew what Miami could do within the passing game. They did it last year before they fell off the face of the earth. We knew what they could do. But when you add that running game salt, you start adding that little bit of flavor, and you put that in there with Achane and Raheem Mostert, it was gone. Notice that when Achane went out, the running game has kind of fallen a little bit behind because you don't have that second piece of ingredient. So
yeah,
the running game is the one that exceeded expectations the most for me, but the offense overall obviously has not only being the number 1 offense in football, but obviously going on a historic pace to break some records.
Yeah, I agree, and it's kind of skewed at the same time for me. All right, at this point in the midpoint of the season, it's a little skewed back and forth because when I sit there and I look at it, we had one big giant game that's skewing a lot of stats. You know what I mean? It's padding a lot of stats along the way for us.
True.
I just want to point this out. We had one game that's making these others look really, really good. All right. Not saying that Miami doesn't look good before people start getting all over me about this. However, Miami has yet, and if you're a real fan, you know what I'm saying is true, has yet to put a complete team on the field this season for this season. You know, we had a big blowout game, but other than that, they haven't really. You can't say that they combined on offense, defense, special teams for a complete game other than the 70 burger one. There might be one that you could limp in on, but I mean, I just think Miami still hasn't really shown what they can do, and that's even on offense. Like you said, you add the running back into it. You add some more of those players back into it. Claypool's going to get a little more familiarity with having an extra week off. You know, a lot of things, this offense hasn't even scratched the surface of what it can really do, in my opinion. And defense, that's a whole other ball game. We're moving up fast, finally. I mean, it's taken us some time. The defense was getting smacked around a bit, and we all know they were going against the decent teams. I'm not talking about these teams we all know we should beat. Come on, guys. Take those numbers out of there and look at what's going on. You know, that's all I'm saying. And when I look at those games like that, I'm trying to look at it as, you know, outside viewer too, you know, because I like to take both sides of the coin. And I just think Miami can actually do way better than they're already doing, which is so scary. And we're talking both sides of the ball. We didn't have a bunch of players on defense. I mean, I just can't wait to see what comes in this second half. But I wanted to put that out there, Bobby, and just get the ball rolling. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I got to say, I mean, I don't know what's going on this week. I know you've been sick, but my goodness, I'm getting drenched in facts over here. I mean, you're spitting facts, and I agree with Steve Malloy. I mean, you're coming. No wonder you pissed them all off. I mean, you're just hitting everybody with some truth. I mean, look, you know, can't disagree with you. Obviously, look, offense number one in football. That's really, I mean, obviously it's amazing. And when Achin comes back, I think it's going to make that much of a difference for our offense in those games we need to win. But the fact of the matter remains is that the Dolphins, yes, 32 points a game, okay, against teams like the Chargers, the Panthers, the Giants, you know, so forth. Yeah, that's really nice. Those are top 20, 30 defenses. You're not going to face them in the playoffs. But the teams like, you know, obviously you're not going to face the Patriots in the playoffs. But, you know, the 4 games where you played or 5 games that you played top 10 defense, I'm not going to say over 500, even though that's a fact. I'm not going to say over 5. I'm going to say top 10, top 5 defenses, and maybe even top 5 offenses. The Dolphins, all of a sudden, from the number one offense in the NFL, scoring 32 points a game, only average 20 points a game. And they scored only 14 against the Chiefs. So the Dolphins, those are the teams that you're going to face in the playoffs. Those are the teams that you need to step up and measure up to. Does that mean the Dolphins are pretenders because they haven't hit those games? No. They are 6-3, the number one in the AFC East. Their defense is trending up. Their offense is number one. Their defense went from 25 to 12. They're not pretenders.
The accolades, Bobby.
They're not pretenders, but they need to start playing up to that competition, to the Chiefs, to the Eagles,
they have
the Buffalo Bills. They haven't done that yet, and they need to start. Scotty, Hank, you should do some actual research. Take those numbers out of the Broncos, and we are still a top 10 offense. I love what you guys claim are facts. Okay, Scotty, do us a favor. Since you say what we're saying are not facts, and Scotty I love Scotty, man. I love when he tunes in. He always comes at us, but he's great. But Scotty, but Scotty, do me a favor. Go ahead and take the Broncos game out and tell me what our numbers are. Okay, if you're saying which Hank said those numbers from the Broncos game are inflating the Dolphins' offensive numbers. Okay, fair. Go ahead. You go ahead and take that game out and tell us what the numbers are. Now, do me a favor. Measure up the Patriots twice, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Eagles. And then tell me what our offensive numbers were. Don't count the defensive touchdown. Only count the 3-point field goals and the points by the offense. And I'll tell you my numbers are right. 20 points a game. You said to eliminate the game, right? You said out of the Broncos game. Take the numbers out for Broncos. So take the numbers out. Go ahead. And then let us know. All we're saying is the Dolphins, those numbers are really nice, but they have to do those. They have to show up in those bigger games, and they haven't done that. The Chiefs game, look, before the season, or for Hank's purposes, before the preseason, we had talked about that game. And I had said, Fish Tank predicted a win. I had predicted a loss. But before the game, especially the number one offense in the NFL, a trending up defense, the Dolphins, even though it looked closer, it wasn't as close as it was. The Dolphins came up short. And instead of looking at the numbers or looking at where our team was trending on offensive, I should have remembered, my God, look how they came up short against the Philly. Look how they came up short against the Eagles. Look how they came up short against the Bills. Miami, people don't like to hear this word, but the facts are facts. And I know you don't like that. They get bullied in those games.
Yeah.
They've been bullied. If you watch the trenches, you see what's going on. They've been bullied.
And Bobby, I don't like when you sit there and say things like that. You know me, I'm on the I don't like that side of that. But
I know that.
I can't, at this point in time, I can't disagree with you. I can. I want to. Trust me, I want to, but I can't. And that's the thing. People, you get a few wins under your belt and people get all that feel good in them. And when you say anything that isn't super positive, they get all ticked off about it. It's like, chill, folks. We're not saying our team sucks. We're not saying we're not big, huge fans. We're both of those things. We're just saying, there is a big difference when you take some of those games out of there on the points that were scored versus the teams that have winning records, or however you want to put it, teams that we should be matching up against that we're going to have to beat come playoffs.
Adam is great. He's in the comments. We're effed. We can't win. It's over already. Forfeit. Deflate the football. I'm worried we didn't spot in there. All good. Scotty, LOL, Bobby, why don't you rank all three teams and let me know which INRS should count and which shouldn't? Okay, Scotty. Again, here's my issue. Here's my issue. You want to put up all the games together and lump them all together, and it looks very pretty and
lump
all
them
freaking
together.
Nice.
Go ahead.
It looks all pretty and nice. But then when you go super chat this big guys, when you go to the games that we lost, Scotty, and put those numbers together, what's the offensive total per game? What's the offensive numbers? It's not that hard. Okay. And like Fish Tank is saying, we're 6-3 going into the bye. We're number one in the AFC East. They're not pretenders. We're just saying they need to shore that up. They need to measure up on those type of playoff games. They got Baltimore coming up. Baltimore is top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense. That's the next measuring stick game. Okay. Yes, the Jets are coming up. The Jets in New York on prime time, Black Friday. Jets are not to be slept on. But I don't feel so bad about the Jets. I think we're going to split that. But the Ravens are the next measuring stick game because those are the type of teams you're going to play in the playoffs. That's the game that I want to see Miami's offense measure up to Baltimore's offense. That's the big one.
That's where I'm going to blow it all up. That's where I'm going to blow it all up because right now, if you ask me, Miami would not be able to stop Derrick Henry. With what I've seen out of the defense, I don't think they'd be able.
You're talking about the Titans game. Whoa!
I'm talking about the Titans game at home, Monday Night Football. I'm talking that might be the game that gets Miami. That's the game I'm more concerned about than a few other games. I'm just as concerned about that game as I am the Baltimore game.
Yeah. No, so overall, look.
I got to see something more out of our defense, or I'm going to be.
So we're going to touch on the defense right now. We're going to talk.
Now, I know they're 2 and whatever, and I know their record sucks. But you know what? New England sucks, and they smacked the piss out of the Bills. So guess what? It really doesn't matter. Any given Sunday, any given team.
Hank hates our defense so much he is blinded about the defense. Well,
I hate our defense now.
no, and Jay, we're going to talk on that. We're going to touch on that, Jay. Let me just say this very quick. Look, again, number one offense in the NFL, leading almost every category minus rushing. Going into next week against the Raiders, should have a very good game, no doubt. They're 6-3 going into the bye. No one's saying, you guys get oversensitive if you want to. We're just saying against those top defenses, against those teams that you're facing in the playoffs, they've come up short. That's not making it up. That's not fantasy. That's reality. That's what it is. Great offense, but where are they when it counts? So, or against those top defenses.
Who did we lose 3-2? Who do we lose 3-2? The Bills, the Chiefs, and the Eagles.
You're not wrong, Jay. We're not wrong. And let me say, I feel really good about our defense.
I don't know how we're wrong about that. I mean, those are the facts.
Yeah. Don't say facts. They don't like facts. They don't like to hear the word facts. Anyway, defense. After hearing Vic Fangio, the Dolphins defense was just as hype as Miami's offense going into this season, but they didn't measure up as advertised to start it off. There was a lot of questions, Hank. You were very high on this defense before the season, and you were holding them accountable throughout the season, saying, what's going on? Look, they were ranked in the 20s, mid-20s to start it off. However, the past few weeks, the defense has started to come around, as Jay has brought up. They held Kansas City's offense, number 2 in the NFL, to 14 points. Exactly. Tua Tyreek, the number 1 offense in football, gave him 7 points. Okay, the fumble. They're moved up from the mid-20s to top 12. What has been the difference, Fish Tank, for the Dolphins defense from the mid-20s? Now they're ranked top 12. What has been the difference, and what are your expectations on this defense going into the second half of the season?
I would have to tell you the turnovers. The turnovers have made the difference for this defense, in my opinion. And what am I looking forward to in this season, you asked?
For the defense, the second half of the season.
For the second half of the defense, I mean, come on, it's got to be the secondary, of course. But for our defense to really do its thing, we got to get after the quarterback. We got to get more pressure on the quarterback, get a little more hits. I love what our defense is doing. Like you said, totally trending up with them. I still believe in them. Like I told you at the beginning of the year, I said I expect them to be a top 10 defense. So far, they haven't been a top 10 defense. Now, you can look anywhere you want on that too, and it's listed on many reports. They're not a top 10 defense. Before I have to explain that. You have 12. Their 12th is the best that they are right now, okay? I expect the top 10 from the beginning of the season till now. Hasn't happened, but we're also – those changes are finally starting to happen. The team's finally coming together. They're finally starting to understand the defense that Fangio's putting out there. They're finally becoming brothers to some extent. It takes some time for all this to get together and for the workings to happen. We all know this. And I think the second half is where we're going to see a lot of that, Bobby, especially in getting healthy players back in the secondary. I see a lot of turnovers coming our way, which is what I thought was going to happen in the beginning of the year. But, you can't predict people getting injured and things like that, And, because of those injuries, they did have to change the way they wanted to play their defense probably. So that's why I keep saying I think coaching and, there's just so much on the defense that can go up, which is, like I said, again, we're 6-3. It's crazy. But the defense can be so much stronger than they currently are. And I think they will be in this second half.
Absolutely. No, and Bradley Chubb, what a difference. Bradley Chubb, a lot of people were hating on that move during last season. I wasn't. But bringing him in, of course, a first-round pick is a tough sell. But what he did with Vic Fangio in Denver, what he has been now with Vic Fangio in Miami, huge difference. He is living up to that draft pick and to that contract right now. Jalen Ramsey obviously has made a major impact on that Miami Dolphins defense coming back from injury. And not obviously play has been great, but it's not play more. It's about what he's done mentally for that defense. Kader Kohu who's been a good player for the Dolphins, good young player, has played on a different level since Ramsey's come in. I really want to see what Howard's going to do going forward with it. And obviously he had a solid game against the Chiefs, but I want to see what I'm going to continue to see the growth of Kohu with Ramsey back there. Jalen Phillips starting to come along. He's, especially with Bradley Chubb there. Christian Wilkins has had a strong season. I know some people have brought up it's about the contract. He's in a contract year. A lot of guys in contract years have big seasons. But obviously he's been helping this defense coming along too. And again, I understand the injury things. I understand what everybody's saying here. Scotty, real question. You expect a top 10 defense game one with a new system, new coach, and Ramsey injury. He expected a top 10 defense before the Ramsey injury, and he expected a top 10 defense before Ramsey got here. It was about Fangio. So just going to throw that out there. And he expected it to grow into a top 10 defense. It's still getting there. Anyway, I'll say it's top 12.
Hey, you got everybody mad in the comments section over here, Bobby.
I think you got them all mad.
Why are you getting everybody mad? So, real question. You expected a top 10 defense with a new system, new coach, and Ramsey injury. No, I expected a top 10 defense before the Ramsey injury is what I said. I think Miami can be a top 10 defense. Did I say they're going to come out the beginning of the year and they're a top 10? No. I said they can be, and they're on their way toward that, to answer your question, Scotty.
Who changed the question?
How did I change the question? I just answered the question.
All right. Okay.
I'm moving on, man. You're angry. Be angry. I can't help that, bro. There's nothing I can do about that.
All right. So, look, Dolphins defense obviously is trending up. Again, top 12 right now in the NFL. I believe they continue to move up, especially a game against the Raiders. Now, the Raiders did win last week. They got their interim coach who's fired them up, Pierce. I think it will be a tough game for Miami to probably start it out, but I believe Miami could have themselves a big game on defense and obviously on offense. Hopefully we have H-in back. Coaching review. Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel has
cool, Scotty. I'm glad to hear that, Scotty, because I'm listening to you over here. Bobby's talking, but we pay attention to you guys. It's important that we pay attention to you. And, I just want to point out, and I'm glad you're not angry. I'm not angry either, obviously. We're all in this for the same reason. We all want this team to be great. And that's all Bobby and I want to put out there. We're trying to give you where we think they could have been, where we think they're going. And we think that everything's going like this the same way you see it, too. We all see it. We all know this team is about to blow up.
What's up, Cap?
And, when this team does blow up, Bobby, they are going to smack somebody around. That 70 burgers, might be there, but Miami is going to do a complete stomp down on somebody. One of these teams we're about to match. And some of them, I think 4 of them out of the next 5 or so, something like that, somebody had said, will be still playing teams that don't have winning records. You know what? Somebody's going to get smacked around. Somebody somewhere. Now, is it going to be one of those teams? Or is it going to be one of the other teams like the Baltimore Ravens? Or is it going to be the Buffalo Bills at home? Or are we going to be so far ahead we'll be resting place? There's so much that can happen between now and then. But our Miami Dolphins are trending up for all the right reasons. This is a nice vacation for them this week. I'm glad they got the opportunity.
That's right. Let me go and say very quick. First off, Cap for Life in the house. And Scotty, just to respond very quick to you say not reading in real time. We don't get them sometimes in real time. Sometimes your comments can come a little before they pop up on the YouTube end before we see them on our live end. But I always catch up on the comments and, hopefully we keep it within the topic of whatever you're talking about. But very quick, Jay, next year I predict we will get Vita Vea from Tampa Bay when Tampa starts the fire sale. Wilkins walks. We get a 3rd-round pick at least. He wants too much money.
Yeah.
there from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A guy that I'm hoping for at the end of the season. He's on a 1-year deal. We just played him. Chris Jones. I believe he would make a major, same thing with Vita Vea, obviously. But I think he'll make a major impact on this defense going into next year. All right. Aladino, Cap for Life. Everyone in the house, appreciate you. Steve Malloy, host of Real Talk Fins Talk on the Fins Talk Sports Network. You catch him on Tuesday nights at 7:30 Eastern Time. McDaniel has led the Dolphins to a 6-3 record and is calling plays for the number one offense in football. Butch Barry, in his first season, has taken an offensive line riddled with injuries, riddled with question marks, and has exceeded expectations. Vic Fangio, despite a slow start for his defense, has now got the defense trending up, possibly top 12, into the top 10 conversation, top 12 currently. How do you feel, Fish Tank, about our Dolphins coaching staff at the midpoint of the season?
I think they're doing a great job, especially, having the injuries that they've had. Are we talking defense only or both sides of the ball?
All over. The whole team.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, coaching staff.
Just making sure we're not still on defense. I just think with the injuries that we've had across the board, especially the offensive line, I mean, come on. They're doing the same thing they did last year, moving people all over the place to fill the offensive line. And look how good they held up. I mean, I was amazed. Some of those games, I was amazed how well they actually held up. But I also saw a lot of different things that on the defense. The defense, same thing. They're trending up, everything, stopping the run, holding the Chiefs to, what was that, 7 points? It just keeps going our direction, Bobby. And the coaches are a huge part of that, obviously. You have one new coach, new defensive coordinator, which changes everything. We all know that changes everything. That even changes which players were previously on the field that currently aren't on the field, like a Tyndall or somebody like that. I do wonder where some of these players are. Is it, once again, because they can't grasp the concept of that? But that all comes with coaching too. And I think that they put the best product they can on the field to win championships with what they've had. And they've also come a long way in teaching that defensive group. I think the defense is sky high from here on out. I have that same faith back that I had prior to preseason with this defense. How's that for an answer? Because of the coaching staff that we have.
Jay, very quick. Jay, I see your comments in there. In regards of Denver giving up a second for Tua, I highly doubt it with Sean Payton. He's not a real big believer in Tua that he showed last year. But just saying that, I see your comments though. And hey, everyone has a right to an opinion. Which let me go ahead and read those for you. Jay says, I honestly do not see the Fins winning more than one game into playoffs with Tua at quarterback. We got to look at Kirk Cousins next year. I know no one wants to read it, but I don't think Tua is the answer. To each their own, sir. And and in regards of Tua for Denver, again, like I said, I highly doubt that. I like Kirk Cousins. I would say I think Tua on the option. Miami did a smart decision on that for a quarterback, a backup, who I think would be Josh Dobbs. That's the Minnesota guy I would go for to be our backup quarterback going forward. But coaching, I agree with Scotty. First off, Butch Barry is the MVP. What he's been able to do on that offensive line, riddled with injuries, like I said, what he's done with Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson is totally transformed into a very damn good right tackle. Taron Armstead has been in and out. Armstead did not do well last week against the Chiefs, but with Armstead out, I mean, what he's done with Kendall Lamb at left tackle, Connor Williams at center, obviously was out for a couple weeks, but what he's been able to do there, Rob, it's just he's been doing so much more with a lot less there's no way you can't say that he's not been the MVP because of what that the offensive line was last season. Crossman, he might be the next one to go. I know a lot of people hate on Crossman, and obviously he is the weak link on the coaching staff right now. But obviously McDaniel must like him because he's been there now going into this second year. Yeah, I think he will, Scotty. Armstead might be rusty, and that's fair. He is a top tier left tackle, all pro left tackle. So we don't expect the struggles to continue. And that could be very much rust. And it's against a top 10, against a probably number one defense in football. It was going to be a tough get for him. So you're right. He might be getting better. Let me just go ahead. Scotty J, you were on with Vita, and then you totally fell off a cliff with the two opinions.
Jay's just melting himself down over here over Tua.
Hey, you know what?
We need one of those. We need one of those like yellow strobes going around for caution.
He is on a roll. Hey, look, again, to each your own. There's a lot of questions to be answered. I will say this about Tua again. He answered a lot of questions last season. And people go, "Oh, he's only playing great because he has Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, et cetera, et cetera." He's supposed to. How else should he perform with those guys? And if he didn't perform well with those guys like Teddy Bridgewater or Skylar Thompson, then we would say, okay, for sure he's not the guy. But he's playing like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL with those guys. The other question, it was about consistency. This season, he's been consistently great or playing very well, except for, again, against those top defenses. That's where I get it, where you're saying, Jay, he comes up short. So it's health and coming up in those big games. Those are the next questions for Tua. But yes, he is a top 10, top 15 quarterback, and he should be with those guys as his weapons. Miami made a smart decision taking his option and not extending him because it gives us a larger window to see how he does continuing going into the season. And
not for nothing, but come on. Come on, what does the guy have to do? I mean, you have a number one offense, and that's even with a meleaguered offensive line. He's still doing his job. The only thing that's handcuffing Tua, which people don't even look at, I don't know why they don't look at it, but the only thing that's really handcuffing Tua is the fact that Mike McDaniel wants him to do everything in timing plays. They want him to do that. And then when that timing gets disrupted, everybody blames Tua's abilities. It's not Tua's abilities that's the problem. It's the fact that when you match up against those teams where they're going to push around your 5-foot wide receiver, you need to get a Chase Claypool out there and push them around for a quarter or two and wear them down. Then put Tyreek out there with them and see how much they want to push around. I'm just saying that there's different ways of doing this so that whether you're bringing the back out of the backfield and splitting them out as a wideout, that'll help it too. There's a million different things that where it doesn't take all this timing that we need. But the reason why we've been doing so much timing is because they're trying to get the ball out of Tua's hands quicker because of that offensive line. It all comes back to the same thing it always does, Bobby, the offensive line. And if they weren't trying to get the ball out of Tua's hands so fast, that with that 2-second drop and 2.2, whatever it is, and boom, the ball's out of the guy's hand. Of course it's going to be a timing play. How could it not be a timing play? The defense that they're playing has to be able to see that too. I mean, it's plain as day that every time they do it, if they disrupt the timing, of course he's going to have to go to his second or third. But the only problem is the offensive line hasn't been able to hold up long enough for him to get to that third or the fourth receiver or whatever needs to happen, or give him a little time to shake and bake in the backfield. None of that has happened either, Bobby. So, I mean, for me, it starts at the offensive line where we still have issues. The issue isn't Tua. The numbers show it's not Tua. It's not Tua at all. Look at Herbert and look at Tua. Go ahead. Compare them now with wins and losses. Okay.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I'm gonna go on the other end of this fish tank because I see everybody's comments and I hear what you're saying. Look, in regards of the play, again, Tua against the Panthers, Broncos, Giants, with the offense, play amazing. They've been great. They're putting up historic numbers. They're doing everything as they should be, right? Especially with the talent of this offense, despite the injuries of the offensive line. And the offensive line plays great. But against those top 10, top 5 defense, against Jalen Hurts, against Josh Allen, against those guys, the offense and the defense.
The guys we have to play in the playoffs.
That's right. That's right. Against those guys, the offense comes short. And Tua does not play his best game. Look, I see where Jay's coming from, and I'll just say he missed a wide open Wilson. Look, Hank, I know what you're saying. The timing issue. Look, the timing issue. I was watching that game, and it wasn't just the Wilson play. It was the first down. The first down to Durham Smythe. The Dolphins offense was trying to get something going. First off, I said before the game they need to win time of possession, which they did, but they also need to convert on third downs, which they did not. The offense did not convert on third downs.
No.
I know offensive line. Look, timing, would say timing issue. The offensive line, it was third and whatever. They got a first down. It was say hi, got it to Durham Smythe, first down. But what no one mostly did not see, unless you watched the replay or you went back and looked, Jalen Waddle, who's just beyond Durham Smythe, was wide open for a touchdown. Tua did not see him. Why? That's the narrative that Tua is a quote-unquote one-read quarterback, which I don't believe. Tua is smart enough that he knows where to look in his offense, but he is following McDaniel's script. You have Tua, you got Tyreek, Jalen, Smythe, whoever was over here, Robbie, whomever, Barrios. Okay, Smythe is your guy. You got to hit him. Okay, hi, bam, done. But hey, wait, Jalen, that was a touchdown. Instead of 14 points, you scored 21 points now. But he had in those games, especially against those top defenses, he's not reading past that point. The Cedric Wilson play, they called it a miscommunication between Cedric Wilson and Tua, basically blaming Cedric Wilson. He ran a wrong route. When reality is Cedric Wilson beat out that defensive back. That was that's 21 points. And Tua, to me, I thought it was a duck at first until you watch play. You see Tua thought, oh, he was supposed to be right there.
Yeah.
But guess what? And again, I'm not comparing because nobody's comparing, and I'm not saying Tua's this or that or whatever. But what I'm saying is that's the difference between elite, good to great. Tua has been good. He could be great, but he's not elite because guess what? Tom Brady would have made that play. Drew Brees would have made that play. They would have saw Cedric Wilson in the end zone, touchdown. Dan Marino would have made that play. Tua didn't. So that's where the drop-off is. Is Tua a good quarterback? You damn right he is. Could he be great? Abso-freaking-lutely. But is it and the Justin Herbert conversation, wins and losses. Let me just read Anthony Manzano's comment here. Honestly, I'm getting tired. Let me put this up here because I don't want people to think I'm saying this, but let me just read. Honestly, I'm getting tired of these narratives about our quarterback. Even though I don't like the kid, I'm starting to get annoyed. But it's his own fault for not beating good teams. Look, it is what it is. The win-loss record is very pretty. It's very nice, but how many of those against those elite teams, against those elite defenses? How many times does he show up when it matters? Again, we talked about December. We talked about these games here, these top, the Buffalo Bills, the Eagles, the Chiefs. Him, like the offense, is come up short. And I'll go back several years ago to what Fish Tank has said. It starts and it ends with your quarterback.
That's right.
So I understand about the offensive line narrative. I understand, and forgive me, guys, if I'm not reading your comments. I was on a thing here, but I'll try to go.
Yeah, I was on a binge too for a minute.
I understand the narrative, but when it becomes to make use more work, okay. That it's offensive line or it's this or that. The offense plays great against bad teams. The offense struggles against the good teams, especially against when you go to those opposing line. They have to show up in those games. Tua needs to show that he could play against the top tier competition. All right. Let me go ahead and read some comments here. And I'm sorry, I got a little bit distracted because I'm trying to read everything. Okay, it's amazing to support an argument against Tua when you assume any other quarterback makes the throw. LOL, no way to counter that. I didn't say any other quarterback. I gave you 3 quarterbacks.
That any other elite quarterback
I said
would have made that throw. Like John Elway or somebody. There's
well,
still a few
that's what I'm
more
saying.
that you didn't mention that I can mention.
Sorry, thank you, Fish Tank.
A Kurt Warner, somebody like that. You know, there were a lot of quarterbacks that could have made that throw. It should have been made. Bobby's right. Tua should have made that throw. Boom.
There you go.
Moving on, Bobby.
Moving on. All right. So look, and again, I just want to say this. Again, it's just what it is. LO, sure, okay. Man, one thing I love about Scotty, man, he keeps me on my toes whenever I say something. He'll come right back. Let's talk about. We're gonna stay on the.
I'm just kidding, Scotty. I'm just giving you a hard time, man.
Oh, Scotty's great, man. Everybody's great. I want to thank everybody again. Let me just say again, you're watching Fins Talk today on the Fins Talk Sports Network. It's our midseason review. Dolphins are 6-3. We're excited. Jay, Scotty, Cap, Steve, Anthony Manzano, everyone tuning in. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Wow, Fins up, everybody. We got a big crowd
watching
today, huh?
Kabuki, bro. Let me read Steve's comment here before we move on. If we were going to beat top teams, McDaniel's going to have to let Tua loose and create something off script, especially when defenses stop the run and get our receivers off the route. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Again, you got to give him the freedom, but is that his strength? Is it his strength to, you know what, go make a play out there? It seems like he gets tensed up. I remember,
Bobby.
Yes, sir.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
I think I honestly still think they're trying to get the ball out of they're forcing him to get the ball out so fast that he's not getting time to get that other stuff going on. And I'm talking watch how the offensive line holds up, like you said, against, playoff caliber teams. And, there's a lot going on that offensive line that's not happening for Tua. That's happening for these other quarterbacks that are considered elite. So I'm just saying, I'm tired of hearing the fact that the kid gets dug out. I didn't think he was the best quarterback coming out. I thought Herbert, because, I lived in Oregon too, so I watched Herbert a lot. And as far as the comparisons go, Herbert was the guy I wanted. Herbert was, Dan Marino body. Tua was not. But guess what? We got Tua. And no matter what, this kid's got talents. Absolutely. Now, is he super elite like some of these players, like Bobby has said? Not yet. No, he's not. He has not played like that yet. No, I can't sit here and honestly, if I was on a stand,
he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be for us to win a game or win a Super Bowl. He just has to make those type of plays. In order for us to win those type of games, you have to make those plays. You don't have to be. You don't have to be Dan Marino. Yeah,
he has to do it. In those situations, he hasn't done it. But I also believe it's a team thing. It's not just a Tua thing. I think it extends from that offensive line and the fact of him still trying to get that ball out so fast. I just really think that he hasn't been given the proper amount of time back there that he needs. There's a lot of changes coming, however, though, Bobby. This second half of the season, I have a funny feeling this kid's going to be completely,
Well, let's touch on that. We're staying on Tua here, and look, if you're looking at stats alone, Fish Tank, Tua is definitely an MVP candidate, right? In the NFL.
Yeah,
stats alone. We can talk about games. We can talk specific plays.
Sure. If we just look at statistics alone, yes.
Okay. So is his number one receiver, Tyreek Hill, on pace for 2,000 yards, or at least trying to. He came up a little short. Van Ginkel's had a strong season. Ramsey's made an immediate impact for the Dolphins. Team MVP. Who is your team, Miami Dolphins team MVP so far at the halfway point of the season?
It's got to be Tyreek Hill. Has to be Tyreek Hill. I don't see how it could be someone else. Tyreek Hill changes defenses, keeps defensive coordinators up at night. Tyreek Hill makes other players open. Tyreek Hill draws the defense so you can make running plays. Tyreek Hill. I could sit here and keep going and going, Bobby. You get the point.
Yes, sir.
I say Tyreek Hill.
I'm with you. It's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
What he means to this team, what he means to this offense, what he's been producing on the field. It's Tyreek Hill.
He has put up. He's run his mouth and he's put up for everything that he's run his mouth on. He didn't so much do it last game, but I'm telling you, he said he wanted 2,000. He's working on 2,000. 8 games and he got 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
So, hey, keep
I
it
can't
going,
argue with
Tyreek Hill. Keep it going.
Yeah, I'm not arguing. I absolutely agree. And again, Tua for the Dolphins, obviously he's a very strong candidate for MVP for the team. We saw what this offense was without him last season with Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson at quarterback, even though the Dolphins did fall into the playoffs. And Skylar was the quarterback for that game. Tua obviously is a very strong candidate for MVP for the Dolphins. In regards to the NFL, like I said on post game, I didn't want to hear that anymore because he has to show up against those big games. We watch Tua and the offense every game because we are diehard Dolphin fans. We know what these guys do. We know how great they can be. But those guys who do those votes for a league MVP, they're not watching those Panthers games or those Giants games or those Patriot games. They're watching the Eagles versus Miami. They're watching the Chiefs versus Miami. They're watching the upcoming Ravens versus Dolphins because those are the headliners. And when they watch those games and then they see Tua playing, or the offense in general playing the way they play, just like the Dolphins team in general, and they go, are the Dolphins pretenders? They're saying the same thing about Tua. When they watch those games and they see him not putting up the numbers they've been reading about, that's when they go, oh, he's not really a league MVP. So,
wow, Bobby, great point, man.
Well, thank you, sir. I try. No, but I'm just saying. Anyway, look, what to look forward to, guys. The Dolphins, again, are 6-3 at the bye. They are the number 1 offense in football, the 12th best defense, and going up. They got some rough matchup coming up. They do have some tough matchups. Again, they're one of the top tough schedules in the NFL. We've heard that before in the second half. They got the Jets twice. Don't sleep on them. They got the Cowboys, the Ravens, the Bills. They also have the Raiders and the Titans, which Hank says he's a little concerned about the Titans. Fish Tank.
Yes, sir.
Before the season, on our preseason show,
yes, sir,
you had the Dolphins finishing 15-2 before the injuries, yes. 13-4 prior to the season after the injuries.
Prior to the season starting, I gave my prediction.
Yes, sir.
13-4, and that's what I think the Dolphins' record would be.
Yes, sir. Right now, I had them going 11-6. Now they're 6-3 going into the second half of the season. Obviously, they're not going to.
Obviously, my numbers are looking more correct if the season continues this way.
There you go. So, looking at the remaining schedule,
but
that's okay. Looking at the remaining schedule, where do you see them finishing up at? They have. Let me just run this down. Next week, they got the Raiders in Miami. Then they play on Black Friday against the Jets at 2:00 Eastern, I believe. Then they got the Commanders in Washington. They face the Jets in New York. They got the Commanders in Washington. Then on Monday Night Football, they welcome the Titans to Hard Rock. Then they got the Jets at Hard Rock. Then they face the Cowboys at Hard Rock.
Yeah.
Then they're going to Baltimore. And then they face Buffalo, finishing the season at Hard Rock.
Woo! I love all that. I love all that, man. That sounds like a lot of games I'm watching. A lot of driving.
So
what's your question now?
My question, so 13-4 before the regular season.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do they finish now? They're 6-3. Do you think they lose one more game? or has your prediction changed? I've been updated a little bit.
I mean, my prediction stands. Once I make it at the beginning, that it stands. However, do I think right now they're going to hit 13 at the halfway mark? I think they're one game short. They're one game short, to be honest with you. And, but there are those games that are coin tossers. You know what I mean? And I could be wrong on one of those.
Thanks, Scotty.
I could be wrong on one of those coin tossers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's go. Let's run by this, Fish. I'm going to go game by game here. Okay.
All right.
Just give me your prediction or your cause to pause. All right.
All right.
We're welcoming the Raiders to Hard Rock next week. Of course, the Raiders won last week. They had a strong win. They got a new coach. They fired Josh McDaniels, which I don't know why anybody else would hire that guy, but that's just me. But they fired their GM too. But we welcome the Raiders. Win, lose,
I'm happy
cause
for
to pause.
them and all that, that they cleaned house and all that, but it's not going to make a difference. They're going to get smacked around. That's a win.
All right. So that's a win. 7-3. We're going off Fish Tank's things here, okay? That's 7-3. All right. Now they travel to New York, MetLife, Black Friday, 3 p.m. kickoff. Thank you, Scotty. Dolphins, win, lose, or draw.
We're going where?
To New York.
We're and let
me give this very quick too.
I think it's a short week too, but we're gonna win. That's that Black Friday, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the 9th best defense in football right now. The Jets defense is no joke.
That's okay, because we have the first best offense.
There you go. So the Jets win 8-3. And of course, guys, let me just say this. As the season goes along, Fish Tank and I, we do our Fitz Talk today. We make a prior game prediction. Things could change. Hank could see something that he says, you know what, after what this just happened, I'm changing this up. Either win, lose, or whatever. All right, so I just want to – that's a preference there. All right, Miami then travels to Washington to face the Commanders, Fish Tank.
Face the Commanders. I think that's a W. I think even though they're on the road the second game, I still see that as a W.
All right.
That's 2 in a row on the road, though. So those games sometimes are closer than we anticipate. So be careful, especially with the Commanders. They're starting to get a little funky over there.
Absolutely. So 9-3 right now for Fish Tank after the Commanders game. Then we travel back to Miami, the Dolphins, and face the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis now at quarterback. Derrick Henry still at running back. Yep. It is primetime. Miami struggles in primetime. Sad but true. They have not won a lot of games. I don't know what the record is, but I know it's not good.
But they do really good at home, though. You don't leave that
That's
out.
true, too. That's true, too.
They are definitely a home team.
Do they go 10-3 here?
No, sorry, they don't.
Oh, all right.
No, they don't.
9-4, Fish Tank. Derrick Henry, you said.
This is where Miami has had their Achilles heel. And if I don't see something in this Jets game or something before this, I think that Miami will drop this one because I think Henry will run all over us. That's just my opinion.
Oh man, I don't blame you. I know I get what you're saying. Okay, so back to Miami State.
So what do you say?
I'm going to say that. I'll give mine afterwards, sir. We're staying with you here. So 9-4 for the Dolphins. Then you got the Jets traveling to the Dolphins. For Hank beat the Dolphins, beat the Jets on Black Friday. Do they beat them again?
And this is that coin tosser I was telling you about. This one can go either way.
Yes.
But I'm giving Miami the W on this one.
All right. So you got it 10-3 now. No, 10-4. 10-4 now. All right. Cowboys. Miami stays in Miami. Cowboys travel.
Win.
Christmas Eve.
Win.
Oh, I thought you said win. I'm like, it's on Christmas Eve.
Miami Dolphins will win.
Hooked up Joe in the house. Win. Sunday, Christmas. It's on Christmas Eve. Win, Bobby, at 3:25, 4:25. All right. Now Miami travels to Baltimore. Top 10, top 5 offense, top 5 defense in Baltimore. Fish Tank. Can Miami pull this off?
No, that's where they get their 4th loss that you're talking about.
That would be their 5th loss.
Or their whatever loss it is. I know they're going 13-4. So I think you might have these numbers wrong because I only said one team that they lost so far.
Okay.
And that was the Titans.
They're 6-3 right now, Fish Tank.
Yeah.
And
they lost to the Titans.
That would give them their fourth loss.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That would make it 5. You are correct. Yes, sir. Man, why are you always right?
It's what my wife says. Why am I always right? I don't know. No,
stop that, Bobby. So, yeah, they're going to lose to Baltimore. And as far as going back home to
facing Buffalo.
Buffalo, that one I couldn't tell you. That's to be determined because we need to see how far ahead we are for that playoff run and see if we want to rest players. So that one I really don't know. That's another coin tosser, but I'll give it to Miami.
Okay. All right. So 12-5. Right? That's where it is now. 12-5.
Right. And that's what I told you. I think that they'll drop one unless
No, you said coin toss. You got it. All right. So Raiders.
That's why I was trying to think why I had 5. And I'm like, because I told you before, I think they'll lose 2 more games, even though my prediction was 13. But
I agree.
I don't see Miami. Yeah, I think they're gonna, and unfortunately for me, I think they're gonna drop a game they shouldn't drop. See, that's where everybody gets all up and agitated. But that's just what I think. They haven't stopped the run enough for me, in my opinion, to say that they have an easy win like they should have over the Tennessee Titans.
There you go. All right. So for me, the Raiders traveling to the Dolphins. I have the Dolphins winning that game. Dolphins at New York, in New York for Black Friday. I have New York winning that game. I said before the season they were going to split the series. I'm going to give that game to New York. It is in MetLife. Even though it's during the day, it's a prime time game. Everybody's going to be watching that game. Everybody's going to be eating food or eating that leftover turkey.
All those shoppers will be out there shopping.
That Black Friday, yeah.
While the rest of us football nerds, lovers sit at home and watch the players on Friday. It's going to be great.
So I have Miami dropping that one. I have the Dolphins beating the Commanders in Washington. I do have the Dolphins winning their primetime game against the Titans. I'm with Fish Tank, though, with my concerns with Derrick Henry and the running game. But I have Miami winning that game, Fish Tank, on primetime. They have to win that game. They can't drop that game.
I know, and that's why I'm worried.
I hear you. I get you. Then the Jets travel to Miami. I have Miami beating the Jets in that game. Dallas then travels to Miami for Christmas Eve. I have Dallas winning that game.
Ravens, I don't know why you have Dallas winning that one.
Again, that one's a toss-up for me, but I could see, again, the primetime thing concerns me. I think Dallas with their top defense, they have a top defense, Micah Parsons, those guys there. I don't know. I just see, again, Miami's offense kind of maybe come up a little short on that game. Cowboys win that. Ravens.
You know why I ask is because they have Dak Prescott. That's why I was asking.
I got you.
Might have been for a friend. Wink.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then the sixth loss of the season will come against Baltimore. I have Miami going 11-6. They dropped the game in Baltimore. Again, all if they win that game, holy crap, what a celebration. I mean, in Baltimore against a top 5 offense, against a top 5 defense, against probably the leader in the MVP race in Lamar Jackson. You beat them in Baltimore. Amazing. But in this prediction, they have them dropping it. That's their 6th loss. And against Miami in Buffalo, I said before the season they were going to split it. They lost to Buffalo earlier in the year. They beat Buffalo in Miami to finish the season going 11-6. So everything's
right
going
with your prediction.
There you go. So
hey, I had somebody that sent me something from their work. Okay. Of course, I'm not going to share it over the internet and all that, but somebody sent something from their work to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on August 1st. And so far, they have predicted every single game correct.
Really?
Yes. And I just want to let you know what their prediction is, okay?
Go for it.
This is David who sent me this. He's also called NorCal FinFan on Twitter. So you got the bye. So far, he's right on all of them. So there's no sense in me reading that he's right. Then you have the Raiders. He's got a win. The Jets. He's got a loss with you. Commanders. He's got a win. Tennessee. He's got a win. New York Jets. He's got a win. Dallas Cowboys. Win. Baltimore Ravens. Loss. Buffalo Bills. Win. So, and he's got them coming in between us at 12-5.
There you go.
Because I'm 13 and you were 11. He's 12-5. So we could both be wrong and he could be right is my point, because he's got them all right so far. So
there you go. There you go. Awesome. All right. Again, guys, everyone here tuning in right now, let me just go to read some of these comments and let's see. Scotty says, half my family is Dallas fans. Big Christmas Eve dinner. Miami needs to win. Cowboys are suspect, Cat for Life says. The Titan game is a game they should not drop. Hooked up Joe. Derrick Henry, Scotty says, this might be a key stat. Scotty says, Derrick Henry has 89 yards on 21 carries in 3 games versus the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And if Miami's Dolphins that defense is trending up, maybe they put them in, keep them in that low number.
And that's what, like I said, I think our defense is going to be trending up, Bobby. I don't see us, people. I'm not saying Miami's bad and the Tennessee Titans are great in any step of the imagination. I'm not. I just haven't seen Miami's defense stop a lot of what I wanted to see happen with our defense. I haven't seen. Now, is that because of the injuries in the secondary? So the front can't play like they want to or need to? I don't know. We're about to find out in the second half, though. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully the defense, they've been trending up. We all know that. So if it continues, then we're good to go.
There you go. All right, guys. Hey, look, again, just to remind everybody, again, you see the Caneswear logo just below me there. The Finstock Sports Network is now partnered with Caneswear. Get your Miami Dolphins gear or any Miami sports gear at Caneswear. If you're traveling down to the game or you are just want to get some new gear, you're going to go to Caneswear. Again, and maybe if you live outside of Florida but you really want to get some stuff, they ship. Go to their website, www.caneswear.com, or you can visit them at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. Give them a call, 954-835-5597. See what they got and to order.
We're discussing my pay after this.
Sure. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Hit that like and subscribe button. We will see you next Saturday for another episode of Fins Talk Today. Until then, like, subscribe, and fins up.
Fins up.